start off as more of a rumor, and now as of late, I guess it's been realized that it's kind of might be more real than not. Let me actually so you guys can see. So Nintendo's next gen console is slowly coming into focus. So pretty much what has happened is that it turns out that the next Switch is kind of being slated for 2024. I'm trying to remember. I remember there were some features that they're moving away from the OLED. It's going to become an LCD. Gosh, I forget where this news came from. It says a Nikkei Asia reporting from May. I don't even know what that is. Shoot, I'm doing a terrible job. But basically, it's just they're saying it's going to be out sometime next year. I think they said like around the middle. So what do you guys
I
think?
don't think it'll be middle. It'll be fall. Like no console releases in the middle. It'll be a November release.
December release easily.
Yeah. I mean,
that's kind of crazy.
Time.
Why? I guess, but then it's like so quiet. Like, and I'm not saying that that's not something that they normally would do anyway. But then at the same time, it's like, well, they never mentioned anything about it either. So, everyone else has heard about it.
Yeah, so this is, of course, still, rumor mill territory, but everybody knows the Switch 2 is coming out. Like, the Switch is, man, it's barely hanging on. I think it's, what, six to seven? It's a little over 6 years, because it came out like a week before my daughter was born. So, yeah, and although that's not, like, the longest time for a console life cycle, for the Switch, it already had aging hardware, like, when it came out. And the most recent games that have come out for it, although they don't work great. I mean, you're not getting 60 frames out of anything. So we've needed a new console for a long time. I mean, the sooner, the better. I mean, this could be accurate. It could be a little beyond that. But, I mean, why wait at this point? They need to have that new console, I think, to stay somewhat, I don't want to say competitive, because they have kind of a niche in this market. But they're going to start, I think, hurting themselves, shooting themselves in the foot for, like, newer releases that come out beyond first party stuff. Like, they're going to be getting a lot of watered down multiplayer ports if they don't really start stepping up the game and get some more powerful hardware. So I am a little sad to hear that they're potentially dropping the OLED. I mean, I'm sure they're doing that for cost. LED is going to be cheaper if you're mass producing this, because cost on the new consoles are always a little higher. But I'll tell you, people are going to have a hard time going from the current Switch OLED to whatever the Switch 2 regular LED is going to be. So
I hear the OLED looks fantastic. Like, it looks so good. So it kind of sucks that they're gonna drop something like that if they really are.
And I think
it's one of those things that you don't realize how big of an impact it has till you play it. Like, I still play my regular Switch, my OG one.
I'm in the same boat,
and it's fine until I hold an OLED. I'm like, ooh. And if I've been playing that, like if I did buy an OLED, that's what I've been playing for the past year or so before this release, I'm gonna be pretty peeved to go back to a lesser display, especially if it is gonna be similar form factor, handheld kind of thing. That's gonna feel like a downgrade in some ways.
And the only other,
like the 3DS, like going into a 3DS XL, and then it's like, oh man, the small one looks great, and then the big one looks like garbage.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other news is that they're saying the form factor is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be some sort of handheld that can, also be utilized on a large monitor, pretty much.
Yeah, I know there are some people who are claiming that, Nintendo is going to do a Nintendo, right? They always try something new and gimmicky and weird. Like, the Wii was weird, the Wii U was weird, the Switch was a new thing, but I don't feel like they can really get away from this model. Like, they have kind of struck gold with what the Switch is. I mean, refining that, I feel like, is their best option. Like, what would you add or change gimmick-wise that's going to benefit?
I feel like innovating and doing gimmicks like that is best done when you're on top. And Nintendo has not been on top. Like, it's still a big company, and it's doing well. It's always done well. But
yes and no. So they're not competing PS5, but to say they're not close to on top, like, they're winning out a completely different market too in some ways. So I don't think they feel like they are doing poorly. Like, some of their game sales for certain games, they may not have the most units sold, but they have, I think, more software sold than anybody.
I just mean it's easier to innovate when you're in a good position. If they were trying to, like, I don't know, if they tried something super drastic, I don't know what I'm saying.
I almost disagree. Like, if you're on top, you stick with what works. Yeah. I think when Nintendo has tried to innovate, that's when you got the Wii U. Like, because the Wii was on top, right? So their next step was to innovate. That didn't turn out so well for them. But I guess my other point is they've been moving towards this Switch now for a while. The Wii U was like the baby step towards the Switch, right? Especially now that they've killed off their other, handheld market. There's no more 3DS or anything like that. It is the Switch. So I don't think they're going to get away from that format. I don't think they really can. Now, what I am very curious to see, and I think they'd be crazy if they don't do it, will this console be backwards compatible with current Switch games? I feel like it really needs to be, but there's no guarantee it will be. I mean, technically the Switch was not compatible with the Wii U stuff for obvious reasons, but then again, the Wii U was compatible with the Wii, and the Wii was compatible with the GameCube, so it's not like there's not a track record for it. But